like Darth Vader's faith in that ancient magic, which, maybe the Force is out there, I don't know, but that little force of his really didn't stop him from getting his own Death Star destroyed. And like the faith of many religious groups that we pander to, we really have screwed over our country. We might as well blow up our own moon at this point, because that's how fucked up we've become. The British, when going to various countries, did not just convert people to their religion. They were there for financial reasons. And in some cases, security reasons, such as, blowing up countries that actually screw over Britain. And the same thing with America, which is understandable. Sometimes you gotta fucking kill the enemy. The British refrained to interfere with the local religions of countries such as India, or any Middle Eastern country they were in, you name it. There were rare times when they got involved. They did teach people English, but that's about it. The British went in order to secure merchandise and raw materials to sell it in Europe for a profit. Naturally, they needed manpower, and that's why a lot of people in India, Pakistan, and those countries worked for the British. But when it comes to religious pandering, should we suck up to people such as Paki Muslims and give in to their demands and their beliefs? Do we come into their countries and make them act like British people in every way possible? Do Americans do that? Do Russians do that? How often do people who want to control the entire world force one way of life around anybody? The United States never converted Afghanistan to Southern Baptism, but Muslims who come to the West think they can convert non-Muslims, aka infidels, to Islam. And if I was in control of, per se, the Galactic Empire, I'd fucking annihilate these useless pieces of shit. And when Muslims come to this country, or any Western country out there, thinking that they can affect our way of life when we don't directly affect theirs, should fuck off and die. Don't come to this country thinking you can change everything we do, and don't think that we are going to change our way of killing your enemies and our enemies. To be honest, the first people who are hurt by Islam are the moderate Muslims, so maybe you should be thankful that we're killing the enemy for you. So while we do that, you go live a normal life and actually get a fucking job and work. If there's any jobs left in your country. So with all that being said, should we pander to groups like the Muslims and worship the Muslim victims in the Middle East? Should we worship these Arab Muslims that feel like because they're slightly going to be oppressed, usually by their own governments, that we are somehow to blame? Did America directly support the Syrian government? No. They actually did something a lot worse by supporting the Syrian rebels. That's Obama's fault, of course, but the pandering to the extremists is what that administration is doing. And even though they're not classified as being on the far left, they have done more to erase freedom and individuality from the United States of America and the rest of the world more than any other country has ever done. In fact, Americans have less freedom under Obama than Bush. And even if you want to get into the whole drone strike citizens thing, imagine if that was done when Reagan was here, or imagine if George H.W. Bush, or the second one, was still there doing that. People would freak out if he did it, but nobody cares if Obama does it, because he's just a corrupt thug. And people need to wake up and realize that that anti-imperialist ideology that his relatives had in Kenya is being applied to America, where he's trying to talk down his predecessors and make it look like he's the one that's solving problems, but he's not. In fact, we are pandering to these aliens, so to speak, these culturally alien beings, by practically worshipping them, calling them the religion of peace, and threatening those who oppose it. And this ideology is ridiculous. This politically correct idea that we need to suck up to these minorities and allow them to be in the majority and give them more rights than the current majority is a bullshit concept. And if you want to go to the more extreme, we should just erase every amendment after the 10th. Even if it means taking away the voting rights of these useless tools. These useless sheeps, hippies, they don't deserve voting rights. They honestly don't. Because what's going to happen is in the future, when these people become the majority, when crackheads, Sunni Muslims, Arab Muslims become the majority, we're going to be fucked. So if I was a governor of a state, I would actually erase all the amendments after the 10th and preserve the Bill of Rights and make that the only constitutional amendments worth following. Sorry if I'm running out of things to say here. Yeah, but as far as imperialism, let's shoot the crap out of anyone who threatens freedom. Seriously, every country America supports, 99% of the time, are usually free countries. That's why as I said, we support South Korea. The left doesn't necessarily cater to the enemy. They just want their country to look like the enemy's country. And that's the issue, is that the people who truly love liberty are being brainwashed into supporting these totalitarian leaders and authoritarian leaders like Kim Jong-il and all those useless pieces of shit. I mean, you might as well support Hitler. You might as well support shit like that. You might as well support the German government that wanted Mexico to invade America. You might as well scoop to that pathetic level because that's what you've already done. And for all you African Americans out there who rant about these anti-American things and claim that you hate America, you live here. You were born here. You didn't even immigrate. You've been here for more than 10 generations. So shut the fuck up about the slavery thing and stop trying to bring up the useless past and actually get a future. Maybe that would help you too. And stop acting like ghetto people too, because you're a disgrace to this country when you do that. And you're a disgrace to your own people too. And that's all.